Hey guys, what's up and welcome back to my channel. So today what we're going to be talking about is a topic that I've talked about a billion times before, so apologies, but I feel like this is part of the reason why we need to talk about it so consistently, because it appears that as much as we think we're evolving, we have fucking AI mimicking people and children, yet the legal system is still broken and our social parameters are equally as broken. So here the fuck we are, I suppose. Let me explain the reason for my rage. That's what I do in therapy, and it's been over a decade and we're still not getting close to the answer. So forget that part. But today's rage specifically, I saw this headline of Daily Mail that was screenshotted and posted to Twitter. The title of the article had me pissed the fuck off, and you'll see why. So the title of the article is Cougars in the Classroom: The Alarming Rate of Teachers Charged with Raping Young Boys in America. Let's start with the silver lining because it's going to be brief. The silver lining is that they use the word rape. As much as it might seem obvious that if you're under the age of consent, it is rape, a lot of the times when it's female teachers, they'll use had sex with, had affair with, they won't use rape. And this is one of the things that really bothers me about the disparity when they report on male professors or male aggressors versus female aggressors, is that they do not use the same terminology, even if we're talking about the same crimes and similar circumstances. Hate that. Doesn't make sense. And also, why are we minimizing one crime compared to the other when it's the same crime, just typically a different victim, different gender? The silver lining's over. So cougars in the classroom. I think that the terms we use when we're talking about rape are really, really important. And by saying cougars in the classroom, like, yeah, you mentioned rape later, but cougars in the classroom, really? If it were a man, would we be okay with saying stud in studies or some shit like that? Equally stupid. Cougar, granted, does address the fact that there's an attraction to younger people, but typically when we talk about cougars, we're talking about women who are 40 and are interested in 20-year-olds or 25-year-olds, which there's still a lot to be said there, but regardless, it's legal. Cougars, when we're talking about potentially pedophilia, no, I'm sorry. That's not today, not ever. Dozens of female teachers have been arrested this year across the nation for sex crimes involving students, as the seeming numbers of cougars in the classroom continues to grow. A long line of female teachers allegedly involved with youngsters across the country dominates headlines. DailyMail.com, a reputable source as ever, discovered that 25 female teachers had been arrested in 16 states in only the last 12 months, and it is feared to be merely the tip of the iceberg, as there appears to be no centralized data collection to track this disturbing trend. I definitely think that this is a gendered problem, and like I said, I've screamed about this before, but I really do think that the amount of passes we give to women in this case, because they're women, still guilty of sex crimes, but because they're women, oh no, we're just going to minimize it, and whatever the victim went through, nobody cares apparently. I don't understand how it is that things are like this, but I also think it's kind of similar to when we see reporting on a crime and then there are pictures from the courtroom and the perpetrator of the crime, who's a woman, is conventionally attractive, and people start talking about that more than the actual crime. A little bit like Casey Anthony. People obviously talked about the crime, but there was a very big emphasis on how she was attractive, and granted, if that has something to do with the case, let's talk about it. But otherwise, no. In the last month, married New Jersey teacher Jessica Sawicki, 37, was arrested after cops found her half naked in the backseat of a teen's car at a wildlife center. The mother of two allegedly admitted to police that she and the student had unprotected sex at least 5 times. In Nebraska, 45-year-old Erin Ward was arrested after being caught naked in the backseat with a teen boy. The substitute teacher is married to a Department of Defense official and was quickly arrested at the scene by police. I'm not going to go deep into conspiracy theories here because there's no actual evidence, but I'm willing to bet that there are so many people, so many teachers or whatever, women, who rape young boys who get away with it because of their husbands or who they're related to. Many of the accused female teachers charged in last year are married, and one was even named Teacher of the Year. Good God. The teachers are enticing students with sexually charged text, nude photos, and videos before and during physical encounters, police say. I really do think that one of the biggest downfalls of technology is the fact that it seems to have really blurred the social boundaries that once were. I don't know what the fuck is going on in these schools, but there has never been a time in my life, and granted, I'm 31, so I guess I'm ancient now, but there was never a time in my life where I had to have a teacher's phone number or their social media. And if I did add them on social media, which I never tried because, again, social boundaries, they wouldn't accept. Where are those boundaries? Why do teachers have Snapchat? Leading child psychologist Dr. Michael Oberschneider of Ashburn Psychological Services said social media influence has contributed to the abuse dynamic and rise in number of cases. Social media can serve to blur the lines between the student-teacher relationship, which can in turn open the doors to more inappropriate outcomes, he said. He explained that students have more access to their teachers through various online formats, which can lead to inappropriate communication and even inappropriate relationships of a sexual nature. As we've seen in the news, some female teachers are choosing to put out sexually focused content on sites like OnlyFans, LoyalFans, Fansly, and other similar platforms that students can see and be part of, Oberschneider explained. Now, I'm not going to go too deep into this, but I definitely think there's a difference between a teacher having OnlyFans and a teacher sexting a student or going further. Now, we can have a full discussion about the ethics of a teacher, quote unquote, publicly doing OnlyFans and what the implications are, because it is a nuanced conversation and I do think it's complicated. However, having your side hustle, a second job, whatever, is not the same as actively pursuing and actively engaging with a student in that way. Those are two different things. So I don't think those should be lumped together, but there is a discussion to be had there. He said even Instagram and other social media platforms allow students to see and to possibly interact with their teacher in more personal and intimate ways. Another contributing factor is the 24-hour news cycle, as more of these cases are being reported, Oberschneider said. In his estimation, 80% of teachers who abuse students are still predominantly male. He explained the research shows males are more opportunistic, more predatory, and more aggressive, with the motivation being focused on sex. We can have a discussion about male predators. Lord knows I've talked about a lot of them, but can we stay on topic? This is what pisses me off about these articles, is that even when we have numerous women who were charged and were guilty of raping their students, we're going back to, oh, but men are worse. And it's like, okay, that's not the focus here. Can we talk about the problem at hand, which is women here? Can we focus? Do we have to always move back to, oh, but men are worse? That does fuck all. Because we need to solve a problem being specific to that problem. Referring to men being worse does nothing for us here. Why can't we just address that criminals come in all shapes and sizes? Why do we need to try and protect a group? It makes no sense. Anyone can be a criminal. You'd think that that was common sense. While female teachers tend to be motivated, it seems to abuse their students in different ways and for different reasons. It often revolves around emotional conflict, unmet intimacy needs, personal issues, loneliness, and feelings of isolation. So, with women here, they have issues of sorts like loneliness and isolation, and that's why they decide to rape people. Truly, it's important to know what the driving causes are, I suppose, but it's still rape, and none of this changes that, and none of this makes me feel any type of empathy for them. So there's that. Rapists in my books, doesn't matter who you're raping, what gender, whatever, you're a rapist. That's it. 4th grade English teacher Alyssa McCommon, 38, Stephanie Woods, 28, a biology teacher, tennis and basketball coach from San Antonio, Texas, Allie Caradmond, 33, of Virginia, Allie Elizabeth Bardfield, a married mother of 4 from Illinois, Emma Delaney Hancock, 26, a former substitute teacher at Wellston High School in Oklahoma, Heather Hare, a teacher at Bryant High School, and Haley Clifton Carmick, 26, are just some of the teachers who have found themselves in headlines in recent months because of their arrests. Hancock, 26, is a former teacher at the Wellston Public School District, is accused of texting a 15-year-old in October 2022 to send him a school assignment. After the few weeks, the teen sent a shirtless snap of himself to Hancock via Snapchat, documents say. It's so predictable. It's always fucking Snapchat. I hadn't read all the way down to the Snapchat detail, and here we fucking are. Hancock responded saying, "Are we sending half-naked pictures now?" The teen responding, "I don't know, are we?" She then allegedly replied, "Are you trying to get me to lose my job?" the documents say. The messages later escalated into Hancock and the teen kissing each other on 2 occasions while in classrooms. Hancock is also accused of touching the teen inappropriately during the second time they kissed, according to the court filing. Hancock is married to the town's chief of police, Alfred Hancock, and is believed to be the daughter of Wellston Mayor Paul Whitnell. I really want to see how many of these women with connections actually stay in prison for a while. I really do want to see what the repercussions are, because already these cases aren't taken seriously, let alone if you're married to the chief of police and you're the daughter of the mayor. This girlie's going to be out in 5 minutes. Hare, 33, pleaded guilty in federal court to transporting a minor across straight lines for the purpose of unlawful sexual activity and now faces up to life in prison. Great. Next up, let's talk about the possibility of electric chairs. Hare had sex with the victim, a male student at Bryan High School in Arkansas, 20 to 30 times throughout the 21-22 school year, including on a class trip to Washington, D.C. Before her arrest and resignation from the school in April of last year, Hare was cherished by her students. They even recorded a farewell video when her class was temporarily halted during the pandemic. Clifton Carmick, 26, from Waynesville near St. Louis, was arrested by the Garden Ridge Police Department on accusations of having a relationship with a 16-year-old high school student. The sexual assaults are alleged to have taken place in Missouri, Pulaski County, about 800 miles away from where she was apprehended by cops. In a further twist to the case, the teenage boy's father has also been charged with endangering the welfare of a child after it was claimed he knew that his son was in a relationship with the educator. Court documents state that the teen and teacher had sex during school and used other students as lookouts. The absolute moral corruption of, well, doing this in the first place, but then having other students be lookouts so you can assault one of your students? I really don't know what to say, and I know that talking about a lot of cases briefly back to back is overwhelming, but it does serve to show you that there is a problem here, and the teacher-student thing has been a problem historically, right? But the thing is, you'd hope that everyone would get the same consequences, and we've seen that historically that really just isn't the case, because we've also seen that historically, in terms of how men treat the situation, a lot of men will be like, oh, nice, like you fucked the teacher, and it's like, well, if he's 13 and she's 45, is that what we're calling it? Not in my books. In Tennessee, 38-year-old Alyssa McCommon, a 4th grade teacher at Charger Academy in Covington, was charged with raping one of her former students, a 12-year-old boy, and is pregnant with the boy's baby. And the crazy thing about this is also that there seems to be very little thought about the trauma that these kids are going to carry with them, even just going to class. You know, you have a horrible experience like that, even if they think at the time that they're enjoying or quote-unquote consenting to it, which it's more complicated than that and we all know it. You're going to carry that shit with you. That's going to traumatize you. It can give you commitment problems. It can make you feel unsafe. And like, there's so many things that come out of that. It's not just like a one-off. And I think that's also part of what people are discounting. So it goes on to detail a couple of other teachers. I honestly don't think it's necessary to read the details of every single case because you guys got the gist and it is overwhelming. But it says, between 2017 and 2022, at least 1,895 teachers have had unfavorable action taken against their credentials by state education licensing boards for sexual misconduct and inappropriate relationships that may not be of a sexual nature, according to the nonprofit National Association of State Directors of Teacher Education and Certification. That figure is an underestimation since many states do not provide the reason why a teacher's credentials was suspended or revoked. Jimmy Adams, executive director of the nonprofit, told DailyMail.com, of the 6,000 incidents that come in yearly, only a very small percentage is sexual misconduct. Billy Joe Grant, PhD, a leading expert in school employee sexual misconduct prevention, said in the last year there have been approximately 468 male and female reports of sexual misconduct involving students nationwide, and of that number, 113 are female. She told Daily Mail that the figure includes both licensed teachers and school employees, including coaches, administrators, teachers, aides, and bus drivers. I still do stand on the point that women get away with this a lot more, also just because of stereotypes we see around women not being like as threatening or as harmful or whatever. When the reality is, it's kind of like psychopaths, and I don't know why people treat it all that differently. Both men and women can be psychopaths, both old people and young people. Of course, there's always a majority group. Like, most psychopaths are between the age of whatever and whatever. Most psychopaths are gender A or B, whatever. That's fine. But just because there is a majority, we cannot ignore the minority who is still causing harm, right? It's still causing trauma. It's still making kids unsafe at school. And of all places at school, where they're there to learn and should be protected by those same teachers. Anyway, I rest my case, or else I'm going to start actually screaming. You guys can let me know what you think in the comments down below. Let me know if you also have theories as to why women are so protected. Is it just the thing of not being seen as harmful or as dangerous, or what do you think it is? Let me know. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you to my patrons as always, and I'll catch you guys next time.